No, there it is.
All right,
Okay, we all back on?
it's showtime.
Okay, showtime. We're gonna dispense with the pledge tonight. I'm just gonna start with the roll call.
I got it. Mr. Bartlett?
Here.
Ms. Graves?
Here.
Dr. Lewis?
Here.
Ms. Palazzolo?
Here.
Mrs. Rankin?
Here.
And Mr. Selzer?
Joe?
Mr. Selzer?
Joe, you're on mute.
Okay, here. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Good. Okay, everybody have seen the minutes. Do I have any questions regarding the minutes?
Nope, not here.
Everybody good with the minutes?
Yeah.
All right, I need a motion and a second to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Second,
All right, on roll call, Mr. Bartlett. Mrs. Graves,
Aye.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis,
Aye.
Ms. Palazzolo.
Aye.
Ms. Rankin,
aye.
Mr. Stelzer.
Aye.
All right. All right, in communications, we have just a couple of things. You all have seen Eli's March fiscal expense and revenue reports. If you have any questions, you can contact her. And while we're on Eli, I want to mention something. There's been a little shenanigans going on with the emails. I don't know. I know some of you have gotten some kind of weird emails. I contacted her and we sent a warning. She sent a warning email around to all of you. I'm assuming you all got that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
The word
Yes.
is, I think, yeah, okay, just be cautious, about opening or responding to any email that looks funny, obviously don't respond to it. Okay, we're all good with that? One final thing in communications, we got the recycle money came in from Hamilton County. We did really good this year. It's going to be a little over $11,000. And that's, that's a good job. All right, permission to address council. We really don't have, we've had no, unless any of you have emails from any residents that have a question?
I do not.
I only had,
No.
I think we all received it just a while back. A resident had written in about the 5G coverage and concerns with that. We've talked about that. And then I got another one from another woman. I think we were all on it though this week. And it hasn't been put into committee. And
Maggie, I'm going to address that. I had that email as well, and I'm going to assign that to a committee.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Have you all seen the email that we know what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't I just go ahead and do that now? Because I believe this is going to be 5G coming into the village is going to be discussed on a couple of levels, but the very first level that's probably in the most contentious level will be the safety issue of 5G. So Avia, I think this should go into your committee and you should maybe start to research, 5G technology, its safety features, what people are going to say, because this is going to be a little contentious. I know that, this is the second or third email that we've gotten from a resident regarding this. So you good? You good with that?
So, I mean, from a safety perspective, I guess, I think ultimately it becomes, I don't know if it's, probably public works, but.
It will ultimately, it may get there because there are going to be other issues about, and there's that lawsuit that's pending the state of Ohio versus the public utilities or Verizon or one of the utilities, regarding municipal right of way. And they essentially want, they want to have the right to come into our right of way and put poles wherever they, please. And we obviously we would like to have a say in that, especially as it regards the historic district. So, but for now, I have a feeling that the first round of this will be fought on a safety issue. And that's why I do believe you ought to, prepare yourself.
But at this point in time, we've not been approached about putting 5G through the neighborhood or in the neighborhood, correct?
No, that is not correct. We have been approached, yes. Verizon has contacted Don about sort of a preliminary, and there's a preliminary map that's been laid out where they would like to place some of these, poles, which to my mind are oversized. And, there's going to be a discussion about that going forward as to where they can place them, how they can place them. Is there going to be a compromise that can be worked out? Why can't they use existing poles? These are going to all be questions that we're going to have to deal with. I sent a letter today to Tom Brinkman inquiring as to, what the status of this lawsuit is. Because if it's still being litigated, as I understand it, Ed can probably answer this better than I could. If it's still in litigation, I don't think they can come in here and start placing the poles. But they essentially have just given us a heads up that they intend to come in and place poles.
Hey, Bill.
I have 5 million questions.
Sure. Start with one.
Go ahead, Kelly.
No, I was just gonna follow up on Bill's comment about that Verizon has already reached out to Don. Is that correct? To
Yes.
verify that?
Yes.
Do we know when?
No, we don't know when, and they haven't applied for the building permit yet.
Okay,
But I do have, as I said, I do have a detailed map that they prepared, and I have other documents that show construction diagrams and drawings of the poles and their placement and, what the box is going to look like up on top of the pole. I do have all that information.
Can you send that to me, Bill?
Of course. Yeah, sure.
And then, like, what right of way do they have? Like, how much say as a village can we say no? If we decide we don't want them, like, what's our obligation? What kind of right of way do we have?
I think the better answer to that will come pending the outcome of this lawsuit, because the gist of the lawsuit, as I understand it, is essentially that communities such as ours with historic districts, would like to have some say-so where you come in and just place these poles. But utility right or utility easements as they exist today essentially allow a utility into the municipal right-of-way of any municipality. I think Ed can address this probably better than I can. So as it stands right now, I mean, they're a little, well, I don't want to use this, but they're a little arrogant. They basically come in and say, here's where we're going to put a pole, and we don't care whether you like it or not. So,
You mean they're already not advising us that they're not going to put them on any of the existing poles?
essentially they're advising us, that they,
What's the reason for that?
well, range and frequency and technical reasons, I assume. But I know that there's latitude. I know they don't have to go exactly where they say is what I'm assuming. And like I said, all I really want is to be able to sort of say, look, let's negotiate this. There has to be alternative placements so that we don't, mar our historic district with some big old poles. But again, that is sort of the argument down the road. The first round will be with residents, because I believe there's a contingent of residents out there who feel that 5G is a very dangerous technology, and they're not going to want it in here on that ground, no matter where the poles are. And that's what I think, what you should prepare for.
Hey, Ed, would it be possible to get a quick synopsis of the state law regarding the placement of these towers and whether, what rights they have to place those towers within right-of-ways? And then
Right away, right?
Right. And then at some point, there are home rule provisions in the Ohio Revised Code. And my previous experience tells me that those things are kind of squishy in a way about how much they apply or don't apply. But the question would be, how much does home rule apply to the specific placement of these towers?
Okay.
Okay, so if we're good with that. All right, permission to address council. Obviously, I just asked it. If anybody has any email questions or other questions, and anyone watching out there now, obviously, if you have a question regarding the proceedings tonight, anything that you've heard throughout the meeting, send me or any council person an email, call the office, talk to Joni, and we'll get an answer back to you. All right, let's move on. Motion to pay the bills. Have everybody looked the bills over? Any questions regarding the bills?
Uh,
No questions? All good with the bills? All right, I need a motion and a second to pay the bills.
So moved.
second,
Second, all right, on roll call, Mr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Mrs. Graves,
Aye.
Dr. Lewis,
aye.
Ms. Palazzolo, Maggie?
I,
Aye.
Am I- yeah.
Okay, Ms. Rankin,
Aye.
Mr. Stelzer.
Aye.
All right, pay the bills. All right. Committees, we don't have any. Under miscellaneous, again, the May 25th council meeting will be held on May the 26th. I'm kind of liking this 6:30 time thing. Maybe we ought to have a discussion about making this our permanent time.
I have to agree.
Okay, well, we don't have to
I
discuss.
don't mind.
Yeah, okay, well, we can maybe discuss this going forward.
Mhm.
All right,
can
so-
I do a quick verbal update on my committee things?
Of course.
Do that, okay. So I am at work on this installation of solar panels thing, even though it's tabled. So that will have something coming up. And then with the recodification, I think we talked about this based on the economic situation that we're facing right now. Can I please target date that for June of 2021 rather than 2020? And by target date, I would say that that would be the date by which we would have kind of a contract and an understanding with American legal what we're going to do. And then I think the finish date for them to give us a product would probably be closer to, third quarter of 2021. So it'll just push the bill off for a year.
Okay.
And then, we can reevaluate it. Hopefully we'll have it.
Okay.
And then finally, so the meeting minutes format, this is like the final item on my list here, the meeting minutes format, ARB Planning Commission committee meetings, that came out of the decisions we made to kind of align those committees with one another. And that seems administrative. Can that just be basically it was just going to set up a format, very, very simple. I don't think we even necessarily need to do it for them, but just to keep it all, looking the same and in line. And then I'm planning to communicate out to them. And this would be a good time to send this like draft example, whatever, about what the meeting minutes would look like, what the expectation is.
Okay,
Can that just be taken off and that can be an administrative thing?
I think so.
I think that makes
So
sense.
yeah, just do it that
I
way.
don't know if it's a big deal.
Yeah. Joni's the one that does them, and we can basically, if you want to see a change or you want to do it some other way, we can discuss it with her.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anybody else want to give a verbal on where they are with their committee reports?
I'm gonna, similar to Rob and Joe did, I have a little bit more explanation in mind than I want to get into right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot off an email to all of you to give you kind of update of where I am with stuff.
So
And
Bill,
that's my plan as well. I'm not quite finished, but it should be done by tomorrow, Wednesday at the latest.
Okay.
so is that everyone's preference, is to go ahead and just do it through mail? Because I mean, that seems fine with me too, versus,
Fine with me. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, right. Every committee chair should probably decide how they want to do it for themselves, I would think.
It'd be nice to be consistent.
right.
All right.
Well, then, yeah,
I mean, sometimes it's nice to be able to just give a verbal report out if you want. So I don't want to say we can't do one or the other, I would think.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Avia, do you want to give one on what you're covering?
Yep, I'm looking good and pretty until you just gave me this 5G thing. But
Okay, just having a little fun, sorry. All right, we're going to move on to resolutions. Tony, you want to read the resolution?
Yes, we have two resolutions. The first one to authorize the sale of paper streets adjacent to 6500 Mariemont Avenue.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Second,
Yeah.
Third reading.
Yeah, this is the third reading. All right, I need a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. All right, on roll call, Mr. Bartlett, Mrs. Graves,
I'll
Dr.
second.
Lewis, Dr. Lewis,
Aye.
Ms. Palazzolo. Ms. Rankin,
Aye.
Mr. Stelzer.
Aye.
Okay, before we move on to the next one, let me say one thing, because now that we've passed this and this will be adopted, I would like, I talked to Ed about this earlier. I want to get this ad in the paper, as soon as possible. And I think the question was, we're going to have Ed draft, how we want this worded, or Joe, were you thinking about doing it?
No, again, I sent a document that highlighted those provisions that we should probably put into the bid package when it goes out, so people are clear about what items they have to comply with if they're going to make a bid on this property. I think it's just better to do it on the front end
Yeah.
instead of them finding out on the backside when we try to go to contract.
Okay. Okay.
I think they're pretty significant. I don't want to call them restrictions, but conditions,
Mhm.
and it probably should be in that bid. I mean, I just think that's the better way of doing this.
Yeah.
Joe, I agree completely on that. You want to get it ready for the ad, and then I'll just take a fast look at it. If it mirrors what you've already sent, I think that's fine.
Well, does anybody have verbiage on what the ad usually shows? I mean, does anybody have an example in the past when something went out for bid?
I'm sure there's something that Joni or Allison could get to.
Yeah.
Okay, if somebody can send me that, that gives me a great head start.
Okay. You do that?
Yeah. Because like I said, this thing is going to have to run, I think, for 5 to 6 weeks. And obviously we want to get it out there as soon as we can to keep this thing moving along. Any other questions regarding this paper street business? And I mean, I think Joe did an outstanding job compiling, everything that we want to cover in his list. So I think we're in good shape here. All right, no other comments? Okay, Tony, next resolution.
All right, fixing a time for public hearing on the 2021 budget.
Okay, that's the second reading. Any discussion?
Yeah, we're gonna do that in the second meeting of the month in July. And I'll review it with council before that meeting, and I'll also review it with the finance committee, sometime earlier that week or the week before.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. All right, that covers the two resolutions. Now the ordinances.
First one, ordinance levying a $5 motor vehicle license tax as authorized by section 4504.173 of the Ohio Revised Code and establishing new Mariemont Code of Ordinances, ordinance number 110.12.
Okay, that's the second reading. Any discussion about that?
None here.
All good with it then?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, next one, Tony.
Okay, ordinance levying a supplemental motor vehicle license tax and establishing a new Mariemont Code of Ordinance number 110.13.
And I believe that's the second reading on that. So any discussions on that? I think we're all pretty clear about that.
Yeah, I'll just say, I think Rob did a great job on this because it always,
Yeah.
and I've always told you guys this, it's amazing what I can learn when I sit down and read the books actually, because I'm normally shooting from the hip on most stuff I do, but Rob has done a great job in putting this together. It'll mean some relatively good extra revenue for the village coming in each and every year. This starts on January 1st of 2021, just so you know.
Okay. We'll have the third readings next council meeting. Okay. I think we covered it.
Did it? Wait for it.
Does
Wait for it.
does anyone else have anything
Leave
to?
them muted.
Yes, here we go.
Yeah.
So Bill,
Yes, Rob.
I sent out to everyone before, a template for collecting ideas. We don't have to go through this now, but at the next council meeting, at the next council meeting, I'd like to go through this list of cost savings ideas. So if we can do that, again, people collect their ideas and then send them to me or whatever. And then let's talk about it, send it out in advance of the next meeting. Let's talk through the ideas, okay?
Yeah, that's good. Good idea. You're talking about that form that you, yeah, I think you all got it. It's
Yeah.
Come up with
Well,
some-
it's not only cost savings, but it's cash deferment because, you know, in the case of the Petoskey project, I think our idea at this point is to push that into 2021.
Right.
You know, it's not that we're eliminating it, but we're just trying to preserve the $300,000 in cash on that into 2021 until we have better clarity on what our revenue situation is.
Yes.
We-
Right,
we
and
talked-
that's why there's a column, the third column over says, is this a cost elimination or is it just a delay in the cost?
Right.
So that's where to clarify that. So I agree with Joe.
We've also asked Chris if he can contact the bidders and see how long the bids would be good for. If they can commit to carrying it into next year.
You think they will? Yeah, the way things are going.
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe-
so again, if everyone can please email me your suggestions or whatever, I'll compile it all, send it out before the next meeting so we can be prepared to talk through this at the next meeting. Because I know I've talked to Newtown, Fairfax, Terrace Park, they're all going through the same process of having their council go through and talk about costs they can delay or costs they can eliminate. Because we should also, by the next meeting, have a better readout on the revenue impact, at least from delaying the withholding tax and stuff like that.
This is sort of related. I got this, I'm sure we all got the same email about this webinar for a panel discussion and about the CARES Act, the Paycheck Protection, relief funds for local governments, et cetera. Did everybody get that email? I got it about 5 today. From
Yeah.
local
Yeah.
gov.
Yeah.
So I am planning to virtually attend that. I just think it'd be good to kind of be in the loop. I don't know if any of you other want to, or if anybody from the finance committee wants to as well. I don't
Tell
think-
me again when it is, Marcy?
It's this Thursday at 11 a.m. And it's free.
Oh, well, why not?
Yep, I agree.
So, okay, so we can, then, that way we can discuss things too, which will be helpful. And, who knows, maybe we can find out something that'll be helpful to us. So,
Yeah, Marcy, I'll try to attend that. I didn't get that email yet, but just forward it to me.
okay, I will do.
I mean, I've been kind of keeping up on all this stuff about the Paycheck Protection Program and kind of reading up on what they're going to give the states and it said something about cities over 500,000. I think Cincinnati is below that, so I don't know if we're going to get much, but we'll see. Okay.
I think it's worth,
I had
anything free is worth at
question,
least what you pay for it, as they say.
separate topic. I just had a question on the committee meetings, and then I saw the note from the ICRC that they, I guess, can host them if they are one of those off days. Is that what you were getting from that email too?
Right. They hear, what was it, Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? I think. or
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
And I know Joe
so-
asked Eli if there was an additional cost to that. I don't know if she's come back with the answer.
So there's a question, we have a contract with ICRC regarding televised, the services they provide for the council meetings. So there's a question about whether that contract covers the committee meetings also. And also whether that contract covers just hosting these Zoom meetings, instead of just, physically running the cameras at the meetings. The one plus of using ICRC is that we get access to their YouTube live channel. So we can comply with the state law about allowing the public to view the meeting. And so that's the one plus of ICRC. We do know how to use Zoom now and actually drive that meeting out to Facebook Live. So we can replicate it ourselves if we have to. It'll be easier if ICRC can do it. But, you know, let's check to make sure we don't get another cost, because it's probably one thing we don't need right now.
Yeah.
So,
So
so we
If
do
either
have
of
this,
those things,
go ahead,
Go ahead.
Avi.
I was just going to say, if either of those things work, does that give us the ability to have feedback from residents to have them attend?
There's a couple ways we can do the feedback question. One is there's a comment section on YouTube Live that people can, you know, type their comments in live as the meeting's going on. But what I heard today from the governor's presentation, we're still limited to meetings less than 10 people in the room. You know, so I think as of right now, we're still on the same path of, you know, probably doing meetings virtually and driving those meetings out to the public via some process. And it's either YouTube Live or Facebook Live. The problem is when I tried to use YouTube Live over the weekend with my Zoom facility, I was getting blown off YouTube after 4 minutes because they claimed I was violating community standards. So I don't know if it's because of the lack of a haircut or what it was that was causing that problem.
It's
But-
personal, Joe, it's you.
Yeah, but
I
it
think it's the
happened,
space shuttle gear.
but it happened multiple times. But I was successfully able to drive it out to a Facebook Live presentation, and that complies with my understanding of what the state law is saying we have to do right now.
Okay.
So
I might need help with
the bottom line is we can hold committee meetings, you know, using the same technique we're using this council meeting.
I might need help with that with this 5G thing, because it's definitely something that I want to make sure that I'm getting feedback from residents and hearing folks on. So just don't know 100% how to do that. But
Now the other option, Avia, is to open the meeting via Zoom up to everybody and, you know, have 30 tiles on the screen. You know, that could be a little unmanageable, but it is an option if you decide you want to try to do it that way.
okay.
And if you hold the meeting, you have the ability to mute people.
That could be fun. The power.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, just so it doesn't get out of hand with people talking over each other.
But if you hold it in here, we could probably arrange it so that you could display it on the big screen if you are, I mean, if 30, I doubt 30 people are going to show up, but I mean, it'd be easier for you to see.
Bill, we have a limitation in the building about Wi-Fi and also the capacity going out on the internet. So I wouldn't recommend too many people to be in council chambers trying to get on Zoom this way.
No, I just meant she could be in here so she could hook it up to the TV and so she would see it. The others would be at home or somewhere else.
Right. But
Yeah.
so a couple options that are out there, but I think we can
Okay.
we can hold a legal committee meeting now.
Well,
We got the capacity.
we already did it, right, Joe? We did the finance committee meeting and you
Okay, we're losing you, Rob.
Yeah.
Facebook Live. So that
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah, we did a hybrid for the first finance committee meeting. We'll be better for the next one. So
Okay, we good?
Well, I've got, no, I'm just kidding.
Okay, we're adjourned.
All right. Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
Thank you all for doing this. I think it really worked out
Smiling
good.
faces.
Yeah, I think it was really good.
Everybody, give me
Yes.
just a second to stop the stream and then I can answer some of those questions you just asked.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.